11 fake engine oil additives are still being sold under new names after lawsuits from engine failure class actions in multiple states. One of them was linked to exploding head gaskets at 35,000 miles. Never use this type of engine oil additive in your car. Stick around for the number 1 that I've actually tested and approved. Kicking things off at number 11, PTFE Teflon-based additives. Teflon in your oil? That's like pouring melted plastic into your engine. Some of the worst junk I've seen comes from products loaded with PTFE. Yep, the same stuff used in non-stick frying pans. Slick 50 is the big name here. They swear it reduces friction, but PTFE doesn't dissolve in oil. It clumps, it settles, and it sure doesn't flow clean through tight oil passages. I've opened up engines gummed up with white sludge, bearings scored, lifters starved, filters clogged. And get this, even DuPont, the folks who make Teflon, told companies to stop using it in oil back in the 90s. That should tell you something. Modern engines have small oil galleries and high-pressure systems. They don't like junk floating around in the oil. PTFE might make things quieter at first, but it builds up over time. And when it does, you're looking at big trouble. Think it's helping? It's not. It's choking your engine from the inside out. And the next one? It's even more toxic. Number 10. Chlorinated paraffins. Want to melt your engine from the inside out? Pour in some chlorinated paraffins. These additives are often found in so-called extreme pressure or high-load oil treatments. They claim to add protection, especially for metal-on-metal contact. What they don't tell you is that under heat, chlorinated paraffins break down into hydrochloric acid. Yeah, the same stuff used to clean rust off steel. Now picture that running through your bearings, cam journals, and cylinder walls. I had a customer dump a bottle of this stuff into an old Chevy 350. 2 oil changes later, main bearings were pitted. Cam lobes had etching. Oil turned dark and started smelling burnt. That wasn't wear, that was chemical corrosion. OEMs flat out ban this stuff in their oil formulations. It's toxic to engines, harmful to the environment, and doesn't belong anywhere near your crankcase. If your oil additive sounds like something from a chemistry lab, throw it in the trash, not your engine. Coming up next, an old favorite that's now a silent killer in modern engines. Number 9. Zinc overload, ZDDP boosters in modern cars. More zinc doesn't mean more protection, it means more damage. ZDDP was king back in the day. It's a zinc phosphorus compound that protects flat tappet cams and lifters. If you've got a 60s muscle car or an old school small block, sure, ZDDP is your friend. But modern engines? Totally different story. Dumping in zinc boosters today, especially in engines with catalytic converters, is a big mistake. Too much ZDDP burns off and coats your O2 sensors and CAT converter. I've seen guys add this thinking they're doing something smart, then come in a month later with check engine lights, poor mileage, and a dead cat. One guy added 2 bottles of a high zinc additive to his 2014 F-150. His converter was toast in under 2,000 miles. That's a $1,200 mistake, and it was preventable. Modern oils already have the right balance for today's engines. More isn't better, it's just costly. Want to ruin your emissions system fast? Pour in some extra zinc. Next up, a sneaky one that thins your oil like water. Number 8, solvent-based cleaners in oil. Putting paint thinner in your crankcase? That's a fast track to engine failure. Some of these so-called engine flush additives are loaded with harsh solvents, things like kerosene, naphtha, or mineral spirits. They claim to clean sludge and varnish, but here's what really happens. These solvents break down your oil's viscosity and strip away its protective film. Bearings lose their cushion, metal grinds on metal. I had a customer use one of these before an oil change. By the time he got home, the engine was knocking like a jackhammer. Sludge isn't your enemy if you're changing your oil on time. But flushing it all out in one go with harsh chemicals? That's like pressure washing a 100-year-old barn. It'll collapse before it's clean. And if you've got a turbocharged engine, forget it. Solvents can overheat and thin oil so badly, your turbo seals won't stand a chance. Bottom line, if your additive smells like lighter fluid, don't put it in your engine. Up next, a slippery black powder that causes gritty problems. Number 7, graphite-based additives. Graphite in your oil? That's like dumping pencil shavings in your engine. These additives promise ultra-low friction by coating parts with a slick graphite film. Sounds smart? Until you see what it actually does. Graphite doesn't stay suspended in oil. It clumps, settles, and turns into gritty sludge. I tore down a small block Ford that had been running a graphite additive for 6 months. The oil pan was coated in thick black paste. Oil passages were half blocked. Lifters were starving. The guy thought he was upgrading his oil. Instead, he was slowly choking his engine. Graphite is soft, sure, but it's still a solid. And modern engines don't like solids floating around. Tolerances are tight. Passages are small. You don't want anything in there that can settle or separate. Plus, once graphite cakes up on parts, it holds heat instead of shedding it. That's the opposite of what you want in a hot running engine. In short, graphite belongs in locks and pencils, not your crankcase. Next up, a magic restorer that fixes nothing. Number 6, snake oil restorers. If a bottle says it can restore compression without a wrench, it's lying. These so-called engine restorers promise to fix blow-by, seal rings, and bring back lost horsepower. Sounds too good to be true, right? That's because it is. Most of these products are just thick oil loaded with fillers or soft metals like copper or tin. They don't rebuild anything. All they do is temporarily boost compression by sealing gaps with gunk. Sure, it might quiet a knock or reduce smoking for a while, but it's like putting sawdust in a transmission. You're not fixing the problem, you're covering it up. One guy dumped a bottle of this stuff into his tired Honda, then took it on a road trip. Engine seized 300 miles in. Turned out the additive blocked his oil filter and starved the head. If your rings are shot or your valves are leaking, no bottle on a shelf is going to fix that. That's a job for tools, not tricks. Coming up next, mystery mixtures with mystery ingredients. Spoiler alert, you don't want them. Number 5, engine oil conditioners with unknown ingredients. If they won't tell you what's in it, why would you pour it in your engine? These so-called oil conditioners are some of the sketchiest bottles on the shelf. No data sheets, no testing, no API certification, just vague claims like improves lubrication or restores engine performance. Sounds nice, but what is it? Most of the time, you're buying a mystery mix of thickeners, dyes, and chemical junk. No real chemistry, no proven benefits. I once called a company to ask what was in their premium conditioner. They said it was a proprietary blend. That's code for, we're not telling you. I had a Dodge Ram come in after the owner used one of these. Oil pressure dropped, cam got scored. Whatever was in that bottle turned the oil into molasses after a few hundred miles. If a product's legit, it'll list its ingredients, have test results, and usually an API or OEM backing. If it's hiding behind marketing lingo, walk away. Next up, an additive that's useful until you overdo it and kill your engine. Number 4, molybdenum disulfide, MOS2 in excess. A little moly helps. Too much turns your engine into a sludge bucket. Molybdenum disulfide, or MOS2, is actually a solid anti-wear additive. In the right dose, from the right brand, it works. But here's the problem. Folks think if a little's good, a lot must be better. Not true. Dump too much MOS2 into your oil and it starts to settle. It cakes, it clogs filters. I had a guy pour in 2 bottles of generic Moly into his older BMW. Oil pressure tanked within 300 miles. Pulled the pan, sludge like wet ash. Filter was jammed up with black paste, MOS2, finely milled and blended by professionals, like Moly, where it's tested and balanced. But cheap knockoffs or DIY Moly boosters just create mess and damage. Engines aren't meant to circulate powdered metal, especially modern ones with tight tolerances and fine screens. If you want MOS2, use the good stuff and never double up. Next up, the fakest tech in the whole oil additive world. Number 3, magnetic oil additives. If your oil additive claims to be magnetic, toss it. You've been scammed. Yep, this nonsense exists. Some companies claim their oil additive has magnetic properties that make it cling to engine parts better. Sounds fancy, right? Total garbage. First off, motor oil isn't magnetic. Steel engine parts don't suddenly attract charged oil molecules. That's not how physics works. I had a customer bring one of these bottles in, said it was supposed to align oil molecules for better protection. I almost laughed. What's really in there? Usually thick oil with metal flakes or mystery particles that do nothing but clog filters and mess with flow. No SAE testing, no OEM backing, just slick labels and sciencey words that mean absolutely nothing. And don't even get me started on additives that talk about magnetic fields around your engine. If that sounds like comic book stuff, it is. Bottom line, real protection comes from chemistry, not gimmicks. Next up, a leaky engine's worst enemy disguised as a quick fix. Number 2, stop leak additives. If it swells seals, what else is it screwing up? Stop leak additives are like putting bubble gum in your radiator. It might plug the leak, but you've got bigger problems now. These oil additives work by softening and swelling rubber seals, usually with harsh chemicals. That might stop a drip today, but you're trading a small problem for a big one down the road. I've seen rear main seals go from slightly leaking to completely shredded after a few thousand miles with stop leak in the crankcase. The swollen rubber gets brittle, cracks, or just turns to mush. Worse, that gunk doesn't stay put. It circulates through your oil system, clogging filters, tiny oil passages, and even lifters. One customer used it to stop a valve cover leak. 2 months later, his engine was ticking and losing oil pressure. That quick fix cost him a rebuild. If your engine's leaking, fix the seal. Don't let a bottle full of seal-swelling soup kill your motor. Coming up next, fake science wrapped in high-dollar packaging. Nano nonsense. Number 1, nano metal suspensions, fake nanotech. If your additive needs a microscope to prove it works, it probably doesn't. These so-called nano oil additives claim to use microscopic metal particles to coat engine parts, reduce friction, and somehow fix wear. Sounds like Star Trek stuff, but in the real world, total gimmick, especially the cheap ones flooding the market. Most of these don't have any real scientific testing behind them. No API certification, no SAE papers, just flashy labels with buzzwords like nano armor or metal bonding. I had a customer who poured one in his turbocharged Mazda. 2 weeks later, turbo failure. Oil filter was clogged with metallic sludge. Real nanotech takes years of lab testing and strict control. You don't get that from a $19.99 bottle online with zero transparency. Now to be clear, one product, Tribotex, actually does what it claims. But the rest? Junk science wrapped in shiny packaging. Don't fall for fake tech. If it sounds like magic, it probably belongs in a comic book, not your crankcase. Now, let's talk about the few oil additives that actually earn their spot in your garage. Number 5, Moly MOS2 Anti-Friction. Now this one I actually trust, and I've used it in my own truck. Moly's MOS2 isn't some fly-by-night gimmick. It's a German-made additive that's been around for decades, backed by real-world results and solid lab testing. The MOS2 in this formula is ultrafine, not the clumpy junk that settles and gums up your engine. It stays suspended in oil and bonds to metal surfaces, reducing wear right where it counts. I've run this in high-mileage engines, older imports, and even a tired work van. Smoother cold starts, quieter idle, lower oil temps on long hauls. It works, plain and simple. What makes it different? It's balanced. It doesn't overload the engine with solids or thicken the oil. And it's OEM approved in Europe for good reason. No mystery ingredients, no wild claims, just proven protection. If you're running an older engine or want to stretch its life, this stuff earns its keep. Up next, a favorite among diesel guys and anyone fighting stiction and hard starts. Number 4. Arc Oil AR9100 Friction Modifier. If you've got a Power Stroke diesel with stiction, this stuff is gold. Arc Oil AR9100 isn't some flashy gimmick. It's a real-deal friction modifier that actually solves problems, especially in hydraulic electronic unit injector systems, like the ones in 6.0-liter and 7.3-liter Power Strokes. Those injectors get sticky when oil breaks down or varnish builds up. This additive cuts through that mess. I've watched rough cold starts turn smooth within a week of using AR9100. Quieter idle, better throttle response. Even oil pressure stays more stable under load. I've seen this stuff bring some old diesels back from the brink without tearing the engine apart. It also helps in high-friction gas engines, smoothing things out and reducing wear in the top end. It's been tested in labs, and then it's got a solid reputation with fleet mechanics and performance shops. No mystery blend, no sludge, just clean, stable protection that gets the job done. And here's the kicker. Ignoring stiction and injector issues like this? That's one of the stupid diesel mistakes that kill your engine. I broke it down in full in another video. Go check it out if you want to avoid expensive repairs you didn't see coming. Next up, a space-age formula that actually backs up the Nano label for once. Number 3, Tribotech's Nano Oil Additive. This is the only nano additive I'll recommend because it actually works and there's science behind it. Unlike the fake nanotech sludge we talked about earlier, Tribotech's was developed out of real research, funded by NASA and the US Department of Energy. Yeah, it's pricey, but this isn't some metallic suit pretending to fix worn engines. It uses engineered ceramic nanoparticles that actually reverse surface wear and bond to metal under heat and pressure. I've seen it reduce lifter tick in high-mileage Subarus and quiet down old VVT systems that were getting noisy. And in engines that were running hot, Tribotech's help drop oil temps and improve pressure. Not overnight miracles, but steady improvements. It's best used on engines that still have life left, but are showing signs of wear. Not a fix in a bottle, but a serious boost for long-term protection. Backed by lab data, real testing, and thousands of solid reviews. Now let's go old school, with an additive that's been saving engines since your granddad's day. Number 2, BGMOA, Motor Oil Additive. If your oil change shop swears by something, and it isn't snake oil, chances are it's BGMOA. This one's a staple in professional service bays. BGMOA isn't flashy, but it's incredibly effective at what it does, preserving oil integrity under extreme stress. It's not thick, it's not loaded with mystery solids. Instead, it's a blend of detergents, dispersants, anti-wear agents, and oxidation inhibitors that help your oil last longer and protect better, especially under heat and pressure. I've used it in high-mileage engines, running synthetic blends, and even in turbocharged cars that run hot. Oil stays cleaner, burn-off is reduced, and if you're stretching intervals a little too far, MOA's got your back. It's API-SN plus compatible and safe for modern engines. No ZDDP overload, No foaming issues. Shops that care about long-term customer loyalty use this stuff. That tells you everything. Next, an underdog that keeps showing up in UOA reports with some impressive results. Number 1. Lucas Heavy Duty Oil Stabilizer. You either swear by it or swear at it, but used right, this stuff delivers. Lucas Heavy Duty Oil Stabilizer has been around for decades, and it's still on shelves for a reason. It's not a miracle fix, but it's one of the few thick oil additives that actually has a purpose, improving oil pressure, reducing engine noise, and cutting wear in old or high-load engines. It's a viscosity improver, meaning it thickens your oil, which helps in engines with worn bearings, lifters, or loose tolerances. Great for high-mileage beaters, tow rigs, or hot-running work trucks. I've seen it quiet noisy top ends and bump up low idle oil pressure on tired motors. But don't overdo it. Adding a quart to a worn engine? Fine. Dumping in half your crankcase? You're asking about aeration and flow problems. And don't use it in new, tight tolerance engines. It's too thick. Used smart, it's a solid tool in the box. That's it. The real additives that earn their keep. No gimmicks, no glitter, just results. Now that you know which engine oil additives to use and avoid, there's one more secret to boosting performance. In my next video, I reveal the best fuel additives to use. Click the video below to watch.